What's up, everybody? It's True Sage. Yes, it's pronounced True Sage. In case you forgot, I know you guys be forgetting to pronounce my name, so I send it to one of my intros. So today we're gonna do something a little bit different, right? So I know my background looks kind of backgroundish, but so today we're gonna do kind of a story time. I wouldn't really call it a story. It's a story time. So here's the thing, though. If you follow me on my Instagram for my YouTube at True Sage, I posted something on my story, and it basically said that I would do a story time, but this doesn't worth talking about because truly, honestly, this not really too much worth talking about. But I kind of sort of sat down and thought about for a second. There may be a subject I actually can talk about this somewhat slightly interesting. Fun thing about it, though, actually, I had plans on actually doing a top 10 best games of the decade today. But I was randomly playing the game, and I was just like, yo, can I type it in a story time? Now I thought to myself, I was like, but wait. Nobody really gives a fuck about my life like that. Just do a story time. I was like, wait. Some people may care. Now I was like, wait. Nobody's going to care. And I was like, yeah, nobody's going to care. I thought about it some more. And even though nobody cares, I think it'd still be kind of fun to do it. Today's story time is basically going to be my first sort of kiss, well, it's gonna be a two-parter story time, so check out for the second part sometime soon. I really don't know when I'm gonna drop it, but whatever. So it's gonna be a story leading up to my sort of first kiss. So to talk about that actual story, we gotta throw it back. Like, we gonna throw it back to Barack Obama and president days. So let's throw it back to 2012, right? My 6th grade year. So and right now, I'm 18 years old, but let's start back 2012, back whenever I was, what, 10? Back to 10, 11? No, at this point in time, I was already 11. So, the girl that I had a crush on, I'm not going to say her name because I don't really want those issues to come along with it, but let's just call her Scarlett. Yeah, let's call her Scarlett. So, Scarlett is my crush's name. So yeah, and you know, my name's Rodney. So back in 6th grade, I used to have this crush on this girl named Scarlett. And every time I say Scarlett, I'm gonna say Scarlett just like that with the fingers and everything. Scarlett, right? So to give a quick description about Scarlett, she was when it comes down to 6th grade standards, she was probably one of the prettiest 6th graders in the school, right? And I went to Ridgewood Middle School in Shreveport, Louisiana. But she was one of the prettiest girls in the 6th grade class. Like, when it comes down to tiers, like F tier, D tier, C tier, B tier, A tier, she was probably an S tier, right? She was the S tier girl that hung around other S tier girls, in my opinion. And she used to always, a lot of the popular guys used to always, like, F with her and, like, think that she was, you know, a really cool person. She was basically popular. She was popular. She had a lot of popular people. And, yeah, I know what you guys are thinking. But True Sage, you're popular too. So you just let that thing. No, you're wrong. So you had me back in the day. I was a nerd back in the day. I know what you're thinking. Surprise? No, it's not. We all knew that. So I was a nerd back in the day, back in 6th grade. When it comes down to tiers, I was probably a nice little D tier. Or was I an F tier? I was a step above an F tier. So back then I was fat, had a little haircut. I didn't really too much keep up with my looks, to be honest with you. Had these big thick glasses on. My voice was very light. Some people say I sound like a French girl, which is pretty embarrassing, but it's kind of the truth. I just really wasn't the ideal version of a boyfriend back then. But so yeah, that was me back to 6th grade. I was a nerd. I wasn't popular, but that was me. She was out of my league. So I was a D tier and she was a S tier. There's a fire C, B, and A in between those. So yeah, I was definitely out of a league. Before I could actually get to about the actual kissing part, we gotta talk about not the origin story because that would take like 12 hours, but we gotta talk about the background check for minutes. Was back in the 6th grade, I didn't have something called self-confidence. So I didn't know where to buy self-confidence. I was like, where do you get the self-confidence at? Like, do you buy it? Do you order it online? Do you just like ask your neighbors for it? I didn't have self-confidence back then. So I couldn't talk to her face to face. I was too nervous to talk to her face to face. So I used to always write her these little weak ass letters, basically. And I say weak ass, I'm talking about weak letters. I'm talking about like, it would be in the middle of the day, reach to your backpack, pull out a piece of paper that's probably like a little bit wrinkled, right in that no, I'm lying. I'm lying. I used to actually somewhat care about my life back then, so I used to actually like get a nice little sheet of paper. Just like write her like these little love notes. I used to get like a sheet of paper, get like a mechanical pencil, because I really mechanical pencils back then. Get a mechanical pencil and write to her and be like, roses are red, violets are blue, the sun turns blue and red, and so am I, and inside I'm dead, and I love you. No, shit like that. And ironically, the way that she felt that I liked her was I actually wrote her a note, and I kid you not, the literal note literally says, word from word, and quote, roses are red, violets are blue, I like you, you should give me a break, it took me a lot of self-confidence to build up materials, okay? That's exactly what that note said, word from word. Yeah, and here's the thing that made it even worse, was that when I used to give her these notes, I used to do it sometimes in class, or in the hallways, but the note that I gave her, let her know how I like her, the little roses are red note, school let out and we'll walk to the buses. And while I was walking to the buses, I gave her this note. Now we're just like, I'll reenact it, kind of, sort of. So I'm not gonna reenact. I don't got no space for that. I was like, hey, here go a note for you. And then I just jetted off. Like she took the note, I just jetted off. I just ran like a typical school nerd. I didn't know how to run. But I know I told one because I was fat back then, so I'm like my body kind of sort of like jiggled like these when I ran in. My body like jiggled like these whenever I was running a little bit, and like my arms was kind of just flapping around like these, was kind of flapping around behind me. So it's kind of like this a little bit, but I wasn't on to running, so yeah. But I was, yeah. I give it a note, and that was really all 6th grade was me giving the notes. And funny thing about it though, my stupid ass, after I already gave her a note that says that I liked her, I used to try to do this little cool unanimous thing that I seen off a show called Kicking on D's Next D. I used to write these little unanimous notes, and I used to like write these little unanimous notes. Like I would know the sitting chart for the next hour class, so I would purposely show up to that class early and be like the first person in that class, and then put the note on her desk. And when she walks in, it's a unanimous note on her desk. And I remember one of the notes was just like something about stars, like stars are big, stars are blue, stars are gray, but you're the star of my life, some shit like that, right? So I wrote this little unanimous note. And the funny thing about it, though, I used to leave this little nickname on all the notes, like Foxy something. That was the kind of way that was the kind of wave I was on back then. It's pretty stupid because I already gave her a note that says that I liked her, and I was the only mother walking around giving her notes. So obviously she knows it's me. And I probably should have realized that whenever I gave her that note and she smiled and looked up at me. But back then I thought I was like, she'll never know it's me. She knew it was me. Some point in time back then, that was really just all 6th grade, is me giving her notes and stuff like that. So I never talked to her. Sometimes she was just randomly say hey to me, but it kind of felt a little bit weird because she'll talk to her friends and they say hey to me, so I don't know. Never got a hug from her back in 6th grade. I don't even think I even touched her back in 6th grade. Now, one time, well, ironically, she had a boyfriend back in 6th grade, which is, I'm going to talk about that too. But ironically, I actually hit a score with her, kinda, for Valentine's Day. Look at my lips, kinda. So Valentine's Day hit, right? I couldn't buy her no kind of stuff because A, she had a boyfriend. No, actually, A, I had no money. B, I wasn't ready to tell my mom yet that I had a crush on this girl, even though she already knew. I was very bad at taking hints. So what I decided to do was to go with the old-fashioned, not so fashioned, write her a little love note. And I kind of forgot all the notes said, but let me explain something. So the way how I felt about this girl was different from the way how I felt about any other girl to this day. And I've had a few girlfriends, but the few girlfriends that I had, the way how she used to make me feel back then, I never got that feeling from any other girlfriends that I had to this day. But at the same time, the girlfriends that I had made me feel ways that I never felt about her before. But just still the fact that she made me feel ways that my other girlfriends didn't make me feel. I don't know. As far as just the aspiration of how much I wanted her, it hits different than any other girl. Because the girlfriends that I've had in the past, I wanted them, but nowhere near as much as I wanted her. She was like a dream girl. It felt like a fairy tale, but you know, fairy tales aren't real. So yeah. So back then I caught myself loving this girl, even though it's weird. I felt like I did, and to this day I'm like, it gotta be love, because it was way more than liking, but it couldn't be because we was never in a relationship. We never had a conversation really. I mean, we did, but it wasn't no real conversation. But anyways, so I wrote her this note, and it said a whole bunch of stuff. But at the end of the note, I think it said something about, I think I'm in love with you. Which is kind of weird thinking about it, because we never actually had a real conversation. So I give it a note on Valentine's Day. I'm doing third hour. Remember that vividly, because the way I used to work was that I sat in the row. I was first, and then she was behind me, and then there's people behind her. But then, for some odd reason, it became a point in time where it was me, and there was space behind me, and then she sat next to me. Yeah, so that's the way how it was. And I wrote a note, third hour, and I was kind of expecting her to say something to me in person or write me a note back. Oh, excuse me. But she never did that day. So I went home that day, rode the bus, went home. I kind of looked in my feelings, kind of got a little bit sad. I was just like, she didn't write me anything back. It's pointless. I remember I had this little Naruto poster on my wall, and I was just like, I wish I could live in an anime world, basically. I was pretty sad, and I was still nerdy, so I wanted to live in an anime world. Good that day. But then the next day come, and the next day come in that third hour, we're just, I think we was talking about, at school, we weren't doing shit important. What was happening, but she ended up tapping my back. So I'm thinking that maybe she's bumped into my accident. So I hit her one of these. No, I'm playing. I didn't turn around that fast. But I turned around, and she gave me a note. And I was just like, I was like, she must be asking for the math homework or some shit like that. Even though it's like English class. But I opened the note, and I don't remember what it all said. But I remember that the last line of the note was basically, she said that the note that I gave her, she really thought the note was very nice and sweet. And I remember that. And her handwriting was kind of weird. She used to write very small. And we had a conversation, and that was that. But just the simple fact of her writing me a note back made me feel so special, because I never got any sort of attention from her back then. Like, all of these notes I used to write her, the best I'll probably get is her looking up at me, smiling at me, and then that'd be it. I never got any kind of attention from her, other than maybe a couple occasional hays. But as far as her directly talking to me in any sort of fashion, shape, form, or way was special to me. And it really meant a lot to me that day when she did what she did. I feel pretty good. But anyways, this has nothing to really do with the actual story time of my fucking kiss. Let's talk about that ass. Ow, man. Okay. So again, it's gonna be a two-parter. You gotta know the backstory. Then later on in life, basically on life, this happened later on in 6th grade. But so I ended up shooting my shot. Previously, I never really shot my shot. I just kind of sort of told her that, hey, I like you, and that was really about it. I never actually said, do you want to go with me or not? So this is like March of 2013, all right? And so we're in the computer lab doing whatever. And I think I was probably preparing for the ILEAP, but I didn't give a f back then. The ILEAP test for me was trying to get her to be my girlfriend. That was the test for me of the school year. I wrote her this note, and the note that I wrote her was very, pause. So I thought about it. I was like, how should I ask her? Because ain't nowhere here I'm actually talk to her. I mean, who the fuck does that? So I'm nervous. I'm like, how should I talk to her? Should I walk up to her and be like, yo, me, you, relationship? Should I like write a piece of paper and be like, you're the beautiful thing in the world, and la. So I went with the old fashioned. It's 2013, so it's somewhat still in style. So I wrote her a note, and that goddamn note said, end quote, will you be my girlfriend? Yes. No. Check one. And the fuck? Simple. It's simple. It's just as simple as that. So I wrote that to her, and how the seating arrangement was, how the seating chart was arranged was I was right here, you know, I was like these in the class, and then you had this guy next to me, and then you had this big bitch next to him. I don't want to talk. She was kind of mean next to her, and Scarlett was the goal. So this is probably the most I ever was. And I didn't even do a lot. So this is the, this is the note, right? This is the note. This right here is the note. Where the note is very big. Say it's the note. So my big fat ass stood up in the classroom, walked over to her, like 4 seats down, say this is the seat right here she was in, tapped her, I said, and I walked back to my seat. That's the kind of swag I had. I didn't even talk to her. It was just as simple as me just... That was it. Literally just me just tapping on the shoulder. That was it. That was the kind of swag I was on back in 2013. And I didn't even look over. All I was when I walked back to my seat, everybody was looking at it like these. They were just looking at it. There was deeper to it. Like there was all up in my face. There was like these. What did it say? What did it say? What the note say? What the note say? Like that was all up in my note, bro. And so I don't know if I looked over. You know how sometimes you have like this out of body spirit? I feel like that my spirit lifted up and turned my head a little bit to the left. And I felt like I saw her look over at me with this kind of, not disgusted look, but this kind of like, the fuck? Like she looked over like, kind of looked like that. But she passed the note down because I was about to get up. And then the dude right next to me thought it was funny. All I remember was him laughing and smirking. And he got the note. Like he was doing something to the note. All I remember was he was like, he was writing something on the note. And he passed it to me. He said, hey, there you go, bud. And then it was a check mark that checked it yes. But the only reason why I said yes was because he erased the one that said no. So she actually checked the no, I would not go with you, but he erased it and checked the yes. So that was what he was doing. But you can obviously tell. So she checked the no, and she wrote a little note underneath it. And these words burned into my mind forever. Her exact words was, not to be mean, but you're just not my type. Sorry. I did what any responsible teenager would do. Well, I wasn't a teenager. I was fucking 11. I did what any responsible 11-year-old would do. I stood up on my seat. I walked over to her. I patted on her shoulder. And I grabbed that bitch. I was like, what the fuck you mean now? About her throat, didn't say that. But my heart, it felt like she did that to my heart, though. So, yeah. Told me no. And that sentence of, not to be mean, but you're just not my type, sorry, started that sentence single-handedly boosted my character development from 0 to 100. And I remember I rode home to the bus. Now keep in mind, back then I was a nerd. I was D ranked and she was a S rank. But she was really cool. Scarlett was really cool though. It was a really cool person. She wasn't shallow. She was a really cool, honest person. And I only had 2 friends back then. And my only 2 friends was Adam and Nate. Some of you guys may know a guy named Elijah. I didn't actually become cool with Elijah until the 7th grade. This is back in the 6th grade. So, wait. I'm going to talk about Elijah. Elijah's not came into the picture yet. I met him back in 7th grade. I only had 2 friends back then, Adam and Nate. And so I rode the bus home with Adam. And I would just slump down. I was just like this the whole time on the bus. I was just depressed. I was talking about how I'm going to die. I'm going to paint my nails black and I was gonna do all this stuff as a character change. And I was just like, dude, don't do that, dude. And then as we was getting off the bus, we was actually being made fun of because we were nerds. And they were just like, what y'all do? Y'all talking about Pokemon? Because we was having a conversation. And it was like, what's your favorite Pokemon character died or something? And so we walked off the bus being made fun of. Talked to me. He was just like, don't change who you are. Don't change your character over this girl. He was just like, he told me, like, I don't even see why you even like Scarlett. Because she seems like she's not even your type. And he was just like, get over her, move on to the next girl, basically. And when I went home, I don't know how my parents ended up finding out, and my parents didn't talk to me about it. And I remember this vividly. I sat in my room and I thought to myself, should I just give up and move on to the next girl? Or should I change? Should I motivate myself, lose this weight that I have, give a about my appearance, and glow up, and eventually become the person that she would probably be into? So I gave, it's like I read the question word. I went back to my room and I said, no, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to pursue her. And so ever since that day, I started working out, and literally that summer, my body was changed. I lost nearly all the weight and everything. And that was basically about the end of 6th grade. My 6th grade really ended off. Once that day hit, I never really gave her no notes after that. I was kind of chill, basically. But that was the best. That's how my 6th grade ended. So ever since then, I started working out. I was big. I had a stomach. I had a little bit of titties. I didn't give a fuck about my appearance. I had a low haircut. And then that was that. 7th grade hit. I was skinny. I lost it all the way. I was like bone skinny, which this isn't a good look either. But I was skinny and had this haircut that's kind of unique. Seventh grade, had a half a hop, lost all the weight, still a nerd. So yeah, but this concludes this portion of the story time. Again, I said it's gonna be a 2-parter. Part 1 was just the background story of me and Scarlett. Part 2 would actually be me talking about how I got that kiss. So for you guys to actually made it this far to the video, thank you guys for watching my video. Like, comment, subscribe. All support is appreciated. I understand this is kind of a different type of video. It's not gaming, it's not a skit. I want to do a story time. Now, again, if you like me doing story times, let me know. I may try to dig deep into my life and find something interesting enough for me to tell a story about. But again, thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for watching this video. And I'll see you guys in part 2. Goodbye.